Welcome back to the Manestream podcast. My name is Ian Stewart, and I'm the opinions editor here at the Lions Roar. And today we are working on something new because last week we started doing a monthly book review podcast where we take our favorite books and we talk about them. And I decided that it would be a cool idea if we did something like that, but for music albums, whether it's something that's come out recently or whether it's something that is I don't want to say retro, but it's older than a year. And the album I chose for this christening uh, is the Mountain album Climbing, which is one of the first albums that I bought on vinyl at in Baton Rouge, this place called Capital City Records, just to give them a name drop. They have a really good selection. Uh, this band, or this album in particular, it was released in 1970 by the hard rock slash blues rock band Mountain. And this, like, if you know the song Mississippi Queen, like, this is the album that this song came from. And the first place that I heard the song was in the show, or the animated show, regular show. There's a segment where the characters go on basically a spice induced high, to put it mildly, and the song is played very appropriately because the song Mississippi Queen is, I feel, it's hard rock, it's blues rock, and I feel like they included some elements of like southern folk and like folk rock, like in the beginning you hear a cowbell along with the guitar, and that really left, like, that song specifically, like the song and the sequence left the impression on me. I thought it was a very cool scene, and that show really cemented my love of 80s music, but specifically rock music in general, because that's mainly, like, it's usually the go-to thing that most movies or shows use in their, like, they use rock music, so that was mainly the genre that I remember, like, growing up listening to. Like, I listened to hip-hop and, like, stuff my parents listened to, like some R&B, like old R&B, like from the 90s or whatnot. But in terms of what left like a deep, like, thumbprint on my mind, it's probably rock music. And in this case, Mountain, they were very influential. They were very instrumental in bringing in the hard rock, which eventually over time influenced, like, heavy metal music, like during the rest of the 70s, like into the mid 70s, into the late, and even further than that. uh this album, I like to describe it because this is my feel good album. Like, if I'm not doing anything, I don't have anything to do, no work, no story, I'll go to my dad's music room and I'll put the album on and just let it spin. Like, I'll just kick back and listen to it because it's my go-to feel-good album. And mainly because it kind of, the first song on the track one is Mississippi Queen. And if you've listened to Mississippi Queen, you know that it's not blaring, it's not like building shattering sounds, but it's like the guitar is very rhythmic. I feel like for me it's kind of hard to describe because music, like you feel the way music makes you feel. You don't know how to describe it. Like when I listen to music, I feel like I see the different images in my head. If that makes any sense, like when I listen to music, I listen to it like thinking about like colors. Like when I listen to this album, I think of like reds or like blues, like all grooving in sync with each other. Like those are just mainly because if you look at the album, I don't have the album with me, but if you look at the cover, it's basically a very colorful album, and it really, like, you look at it and you just vibe with it. Like if you know, you know. Like it's not that easy to explain, but if you get really like sucked into like an album, you'll know. So the first song on the track is Mississippi Queen, and I would say it's the rising point of the album. Like it's the song that gets you sucked in, and like it's the most well known song on this album and their whole track in general. Uh, Aaron, you can in editing you can record all that. But back on track, like it's the rising point of the album, and the song after it, "Theme for an Imaginary Western," that song, I would say, like outside of just the title, like Western, it really feels like a blues album, like a blues rock album, because that's what the band mainly focused on, like blues. Like early on, they had like a lot of psychedelic rock, like not like Jimi Hendrix, where it's like, oh, and I love Jimi. He's probably my favorite, or is my favorite musician. But like when you listen to Jimi, you can imagine someone just going on a trip of whatever psychedelic of their choosing. But with this album, or this song, theme from a Western, you can just, like, it's like what I was talking about before, where it's basically the colors, like the sounds, the guitar, the drums, like they send these images into your head, like you just close your eyes and you can just see different colors and you're just vibing out. uh and it's kind of like I make a lot of the songs kind of go between very hard rock and very, like, I don't want to say soft rock, but like blues. Like it's very blues heavy. And I feel like there's a few songs like Imaginary Western feels like a good blend between the two, because I feel like the hard rock is like real hard, like it's very like, I won't beat to the rhythm, but like you get the you get the point. Uh, and the next song after that is Never in My Life, which is more in line with Mississippi Queen, where it's very hard, like intense with the rhythm and the instruments. And if I had to rank, because, well, actually, the song that comes after Never in My Life is my favorite. I would, like, most people are familiar. like I don't want to say Mississippi Queen is definitely, oh yeah, it's my favorite of the album. It's probably third third favorite, because outside of it being like the most popular of the album, it doesn't really, like, I like it, but it didn't really resonate. Like like some of this is just like if you vibe to music like in your spare time and you just close your eyes, you just don't think of anything. There's gonna be one or two songs that like really click with you, like they just make you feel things on a deep spiritual type of level. Uh, and that song is Solar Paper. That's my probably my favorite song of the album, where it's kind of a blend of hard rock and blues rock, where it's not super intense like Mississippi Queen or Never in My Life, but it's just, I just rock with it. And like I feel like if I could play tracks from this album, and maybe, and this is like a trial run, so this probably won't be the format of every podcast, because this is very much a pilot to see what works and what doesn't. So later on in the future, we might play samples from the songs just so we can have like a better sense of what we're trying to say. Because it's like I've been saying, it's if you know, you know, but some of y'all don't know. And I recommend that if you've never heard this album, you should definitely go on YouTube, Spotify, or whatever, Apple Music, and listen to it, because it's a really good album. Yasgur's Farm, which is the next song on the album, it was actually, the name of it was named after a man named Max Yasgur, who was a farmer in New York. He ran a dairy farm. And well, actually, the farm was the location of Woodstock, like the famous music festival in 1969, where Mountain actually performed. I think it was their third live performance, I think. And, you know, where they played next to Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin, Creedence Clearwater Revival. And, you know, that's classic. Like, Woodstock is a classic music festival, but that's where the name of Yasgur's Farm came from. Like, they took it from the farm and they named it after Max. So it's like a tribute of sorts. And this is very smooth. Like, this is a really smooth album. Like the later, because I feel like it's kind of like you have Mississippi Queen, where it's a rise in intensity. You have Imaginary Western, where it's like still has some intensity, but it's like blues heavy. And then you have Never in My Life, which is like a pickup, and Silver Paper, and Yasgur's Farm, and pretty much all the others. And this descent isn't like a quality descent, it's just like more like melodic instead of like very intense, like earth shattering intensity. That and To My Friend and The Layer, I'll put them together because they're basically the most peaceful songs, peaceful like rock songs you'll probably listen to. Like, just close your eyes. Like, if you want to, like, this is a good album to just close your eyes and just meditate. If that's your thing, meditate, close your eyes, clear your thoughts, and just listen to, like, especially some of the later songs, because they're very, like, chill, like as chill as rock can be. Sitting on the Rainbow and Boys in the band are kind of like imaginary western, where they're very, like, they're a mix between the hard and the blues, where they're very, well, like I said, they're a blend between hard and the blues. Like, if it's like a nice middle ground where it's intense but very melodic as well. And like I mentioned with Mississippi Queen, that they use, like, and the song itself, like the title Mississippi, there's a lot of, like, southern, like, well, both inspiration and eventually, because blues rock inspired a lot of, like southern rock, like your people, because initially I thought they were a southern rock group, and, like, if you listen to, like, a couple of their songs, or I'd say half, like, you probably would think they are, but they, like, technically aren't. But, like, with rock and, like, any genre, but rock in this case, like, there's, like, if you listen, there's a lot of, like, interconnection between, like, subgenres of rock, or it's blues rock, and there's, like, southern rock, where both have had influences on each other, like specific bands or artists, or so on and so forth. And I feel like those are mainly my main thoughts for the album, because I feel this is just like a nice, like, chill, like, album to listen to if you're not looking to, like, shatter walls or anything like that, but you don't want something that's, like, super folky, like super mellow. Like, this is like a good in between, where it's heavy and melodic at the same time. So that serves as the first test run of this new podcast. We hope you enjoy, and follow us on Spotify if you want to listen to more podcasts like this, or also check out Chloe Williams, the editor-in-chief. She did the book review podcast. That's also on Spotify, so check that out, and we'll see you around.